Good day, grade 7. So we have now listened or we have watched the video of the Nobel speech by Al Gore, and we have also read the text. And this session or this writing lesson will happen over a period of 2 sessions or maybe 3. We will really have to prepare ourselves in order to do this written response because we are going to write what is called an argumentative text. So basically what we need to do, an argument, it says here at the top, if we go a little bit further up on page 390, it says writing to compare. You have studied the written version and video of Al Gore's Nobel Prize acceptance speech. Now, analyze both versions and consider how the medium in which the message is provided, written or video, affects how persuaded you are by Gore's message. Now, remember, in an argumentative text, we need to persuade or convince the audience. And even though the text and the video has the same message, it is provided in different forms. And we have to establish what side of the argument are we going to stand with. What are we for, okay? So your assignment is both the written and video versions of Gore's Nobel speech contain the same message. However, the different modes of delivery, text and speech, may affect how an audience is persuaded by the message. How convinced are they? Are they more convinced by the text or by the speech? It says, write an argument in which you state a claim as to which medium more persuasively conveys Gore's argument. Okay, so we need to analyze the video and analyze the text and see which one is more persuasive in Gore's argument. Explain how the elements of the video or the written text either strengthen or weaken the argument. So what we're going to do is we are going to do some pre-writing activities such as pre-writing, gathering ideas, as well as summarizing, and also we're going to do planning and drafting. Okay, and we'll go through this over 3 sessions like I explained. So here we see pre-writing, gather evidence. Now, whenever one is doing an argumentative text, people will only be convinced or persuaded if you have gathered enough evidence. So it says review both the text and video. Okay, so use a chart like this to gather your notes. In the left column, record key ideas that are conveyed in both the text and video. Then take note of how effectively that key idea is portrayed in each medium. Right, so if we look at the text, and we can see here on the left-hand side where I'm going to show you on the cursor, right? So it says here, text presents the argument. Evidence may be easier to follow because the reader can see the structure. So the evidence, yes, that's a strong point. It might be easier to follow in the text, okay? The structure of the argument. And it says here by point B, it may be harder to trace the organizational structure in the speech. So yes, in the text, that's a pro, okay, for the text, and this is a con. This is something that is against the text, okay, or the speech. And here it says the text is more effective for allowing readers to review details. So this means that readers can always go back to the text and they can review the details. Text may feel dense, okay, so that's a con against the text. And spoken word is more musical and more rhythmic, okay? So they're saying that the speech keeps sometimes the audience more interested because it has a more rhythmic pattern to it. And the video is more effective for allowing readers to hear the sounds of the speech. So this helps us to pick up his mood, for example. Viewers also see reactions of the audience to his speech. So we are going to go from very scratch in this writing lesson. Okay, and here if we go a bit further down, and here you can use this information to broaden out your ideas in your table. Does the text reveal aspects of the argument that the video does not? Explain. It says here that students may note that the video allows students to hear the way Gore presents the information. So yes, in the speech, in the video, it allows us to pick up his mood and allow us to listen to the rhythm and the figurative language being used. Okay? And does the video communicate the author's tone in a way that the text does not? Yes, of course. It helps us to feel his mood and how powerful the speech can actually be. Okay, so that's one part of your pre-writing activity that I would like you to focus on. And then, if we go a bit further down, then here on this page, we'll start drafting our claim. Okay, so now that you have done the pre-writing activity that shows us the strengths and the weaknesses of the text as opposed to the video or vice versa, we can then go on to drafting your claim. And drafting your claim simply means this: which side are you on? What are you for? What do you think an audience, or what have you been more persuaded by? Okay, the text or the video, and why? Okay, and when we state our reason why, we are going to use some of these pre-writing activity answers. Okay, gathering evidence. Okay, so whenever you state a claim in an argument, you have to provide evidence. That is what is going to make your claim strong. And then it goes on where it says use transitions to connect ideas. And I'm not going to go through all of it, but this is very important as well. Transitions that show differences. So when you are showing differences between the text and the video, you need to use words like however, unlike, on the other hand. It shows contrast, it shows differences. And when using transitions that show similarities, you need to use words like also, similarly, likewise, to, in addition. So these are the 2 pages on 390 and 391 that I would like you to also complete. And if you look here, this is a very important component of an argumentative text, and you need to provide counter arguments. Okay? In other words, you need to counterattack, because when you're providing an argument or stating your claim, there are people that will oppose you. There are people that will disagree with you. And sometimes when we propose a topic, we know what people are going to disagree about. So those kinds of things in your writing and in your debating, you can actually prepare for. Okay? And you need to be prepared for this. What is the opposing view against you? And what is your counter argument against that going to be, so that you can weaken the opposition's argument? All right? So that's a very important point. Those are the only 2 things that I'd like you to focus on for this particular lesson that you are watching right now. And then I'd like to show you quite an interesting video of how to go about writing an argumentative text from another point of view. So let's just watch this for a few minutes.
Let's discuss the argumentative or persuasive essay. An argumentative essay topic might ask, is chocolate better than candy? Another argumentative essay topic might be, should the weekends be extended to 4 days instead of 2 days? Or how about, are cats better than dogs? However you choose to respond to those previous questions, you are already creating an argument.
All right, I'm going to pause there quickly, and then we're going to move a little bit further on so we can actually get into... Right, here we go.
Rather than fighting, an argument or persuasive essay persuades your reader to make a change. This can be a mental change, where you are changing their opinion, or it could be a policy change, where you are changing a practice, law, or rule. Remember that all essays require a thesis statement that provides the main idea of the essay for the reader.
Okay, so that's your main claim and your main evidence point.
The example thesis statement for an argumentative essay, and notice how the writer takes a stance and provides the reader with a specific argument that will be developed. Sometimes you might agree with both sides of the argument. However, in order for readers to find you reliable, make sure to only choose one side of the argument in order to develop those specific.
Right, so if I go a bit further on,
About dogs being better pets than cats. About dogs being better pets.
So there we see it's up to you to persuade readers by providing evidence for your arguments. So evidence is very pivotal, very important in an argumentative text, all right? And if we go a little bit further on, okay, so I'd like to stop there for now. And in our next writing lesson, like I explained, it will be a continuation of lessons, and then we will continue with developing our argumentative essay, all right, based on the topic which we see in the book on page 390. Thank you, grade 7s. That brings us to the end of this writing session. I will see you next week for the next.